Hi everybody, happy 4th of July. I had to come upstairs because downstairs has been so loud all day I haven't been able to do the video. I wanted to share with you what we do for science because a lot of the stuff I see online are people looking for science curriculums, and there's a ton out there. So if you need a grab and go science curriculum, absolutely go for it. My daughter loves experiments. She really likes the idea of science, but understanding things like the scientific method and how to make educated guesses and predictions and things like that is really hard for her and my son because they have expressive language delays. Excuse me. So what we've done is they get to choose a topic and then I turn it into science. So I wanted to share some of our favorites that we've done. My daughter loves animals. She wanted to do something with animals. And my son loves natural disasters. So I merged the two together. And my daughter got to pick 3 animals. And we looked into how they survive or not in a natural disaster situation. So she had picked kangaroos and flamingos and I think seahorses. That one was very sciencey by nature. My son picked Minecraft. And so for my kids, I do a lot of notebooks because we're working a lot on handwriting, but not straight handwriting necessarily, just practicing it in like everyday stuff. So everyone gets a notebook. This is a 3-subject notebook. So for Hunter's notebook, he's got science in here, history, and English, language arts. So for Minecraft, what we do is, I don't know if you can see that a little closer. We generate questions together that we want to answer, and then he does the research for them. Additionally, for this one, we went a little bit further. He got to design. I don't know what happened in my language there. He got to design his own video game through Roblox, even though it's not Minecraft. He got to design it through Roblox, and so we had a lot of fun with that, doing the test drives and things. So that was one of his units because he wanted to do Minecraft. He also likes the book Elbow Grease by John Cena, and so we did an entire unit on that, and we talked about acceleration, and we talked about the differences between electric and gas cars, and we talked about propulsion and all that kind of stuff. So we did that with that unit. My daughter, more of a gentle soul, if you will. We've done rainbows, which again, very sciencey by nature topic. But then she hit me. She hit me with a surprise one. She said she wanted to do nursery rhymes for science. Has anyone else done a nursery rhyme science? We did. I picked a bunch of nursery rhymes. There's the Itsy Bitsy Spider. And what we did is we read the nursery rhyme and repeated it a few times. And then she had to identify what the problem was. And then she had to come up with some solutions to solve said problem. So for the Itsy Bitsy Spider, her problem states that the water in the spout keeps making the spider fall. And then she had to come up with at least 3 solutions. So she was going to give him a tiny umbrella, a snorkel, or a rope. Ultimately, she decided to give him a rope. The next portion of this was the STEM portion where they actually build. So we did Little Bo Peep, build a fence, right? With materials that we had around the house, nothing crazy. And she had to sketch it out before she built it in real life and 3D. This was a great exercise. For the rope, I basically just took some yarn that she braided to make it stronger, and we had some felt, It's a Bitsy Spider characters, and we used it to show how it would work. It was a really fun unit. I got this idea of following their lead before we started homeschooling during Christmas break. Just needed something to keep us going during Christmas break and just not be so sluggish all the time or just watching TV or playing games, video games. So we started doing Christmas science. So every night when I got home from work, for 15 days straight leading up to Christmas, we did a science experiment that was Christmas themed. We did stuff like sink and float with Christmas items, all the way through bending candy canes. It was so much fun. We documented everything. We took a ton of pictures. Everyone had a great time. That's the science that my daughter loves. So I want to keep science quick, easy, and to the point. For the animals and natural disasters one, she created little habitats during whatever the disaster was. So if it was flooding, then she created a habitat that was flooded for her animal and showed in the habitat how they did something, right? So flamingos, for example, build nests up higher so that they don't get flooded out, that kind of thing. So if you are struggling with science, if you haven't really incorporated it, or you don't have a lot of time necessarily to incorporate it as special needs parents, we often prioritize the essentials, right? Like reading, math, life skills, that kind of stuff. Science is just a really fun thing we can do. We don't spend a ton of time in our science curriculum. If they're stuck on a topic, I will guide them, but this is really for them. And it's just something that gives us a break from the things that have to get done, that they feel potentially more pressure on. So if you don't want to buy a science curriculum, if you want to just steal an idea, these are all going to be posted on my website. I'd love to hear what everyone else is doing for science and how, or if you even incorporate it. And that's it. Hope everyone has a great day. Bye.